Welcome to On the Edge with Deneen Dias. Today, my guest is Geni Whitehouse from the Impactful Advisor. Sorry, Geni, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm a CPA in Napa Valley. I work with wineries. I also have a speaking business called Even a Nerd, and I train accountants to do advisory.
I
A lot
know
of
when we were prepping for this, I was like, Geni, is it the Impactful Advisor? Is it even the Nerd Can Be Heard? You've done so much. You've written books. I mean, one of my favorite things about you is you're so authentic and you authentically care about the profession as well as the clients. And so what I'd really like to dive in and share for the next 30 minutes and chat about is what you're seeing in the profession with moving to advisory, because you're really helping firms move to advisory. You and I talked about this. I think firms are sick of hearing like move to advisory, move to advisory, move to advisory ad nauseum. But it's starting to really happen. So I'd love for you to share, what you're seeing happening this year in the profession in this space.
They're probably sick of me talking about it, Deneen, because I've been talking about it for more than 20 years, and
Me
people
both.
are finally listening. But they still don't know what to do about it. And all I'm here, and I was a partner in a CPA firm in Atlanta a long time ago, and I left to go into high tech because I wanted to try to change the value equation that we have with our clients as a profession. I was really frustrated with that. So I went in search of a technology that would let me solve the problem. That's what I thought we could do, right? If I get the right tool, right, Deneen, that's part of our wiring these days. I can change the way I relate to clients. And so I went in search of that. And then found my way to the advisory materials that were necessary in order to use the technology with clients. So I realized you can't just put a piece of software in front of somebody and they will automatically become conversationalists, which is one of our challenges as a profession. So I went out then and said, I got to find the training for accountants to help them be comfortable in having different kinds of conversations with clients. So I found a methodology, the one that I'm now using, and the one that I've been talking about ever since. But it's a difficult shift for people to figure out, how do I show people numbers and then tell them what to do to improve them? We're not trained as accountants to do that.
Right.
So it's been a long journey, and I've been talking about it, and nobody wanted to hear it back in the day. And now everybody is talking about it, but we still don't know how. And so that's the problem I'm trying to help people solve is, here's some tools, here's a checklist, here's some presentations you can download, all that stuff. And here's how to change your mind about what it is we do as accountants, which is the hardest part, which,
Yeah.
Denise, you've been fighting this battle from
Yeah.
software side and in different places, yeah, CPA.
Yeah.
And shift is just a difficult one. Even when people have tools and training, they still got to take the tool and sit across from a client and ask some questions.
Yeah. Well, can you dig into that a little bit more? Because I do, we've talked about this, like, I think there's a lot of fear in, I think it's so easy to just deliver a tax return, right? So much easier to just do it and deliver it, right? And be done with
Wasn't
it.
easy for me. Wasn't easy for me. I was a tax person. It took a lot of effort to get it do an average job as a tax person. But there's a lot of effort involved and a lot of deadlines. But it's comfortable. It's not easy, but we've mastered it. We're great at
That's a
most of
better way of saying it. It's not, so there, I think there's a comfort there is we know
it.
how to do this
Yeah.
job, right? And but moving into asking questions and having a discussion with the business owner and really trying to understand their business and what can we do to help you drive your business forward. There just seems to be, I don't think there's lack of interest. I think there's just, it's uncomfortable. And tell me what you're seeing, because as you're training firms and giving them the checklist, you're telling me that they're still not using it. And I'm like, why? Why aren't they?
They
You're
are.
giving me.
And so,
Yeah.
first of all, I named my training business The Impactful Advisor. So I want to teach people to make a difference. I don't just want to give them a bunch of education that they don't ever apply. So part of what really motivates me is that they do actually go out and change lives and make
Yeah.
clients better and all that. And so we've given them the tools, but again, no matter what you know intellectually, if you don't sit down with the client and use it for the first time,
Right.
it never you never make an impact. So we're training people, we're giving them the tools. But I mean, I was on a training class yesterday, and we've been through 17 weeks, and I do weekly coaching with one of the programs that I offer with. So I have an online training course, and then you come on weekly, and I make sure you're doing it basically and add stuff to it. And one of the people said, "But how can I ask a person a question about marketing? I don't know anything about marketing." And I said, "I'm in wine country. I showed up in wine country 15 years ago with this accent from Atlanta, Georgia, raised in South Carolina, drinking Franzia in a box, y'all. I showed up in wine country. I'm going to tell you what to do with your wine and how to sell it and what to pair it with, or how to make it. Or that's not my job. And I had that same fear. Like, I can't talk to these people. I don't even know what the heck that stuff is over there and what they do with those big old barrels back there. But I realized there's a benefit in that. I'm not
Yeah,
making assumptions. So our job is to ask them questions and help them find the answer. I don't have to know marketing, but I need to show them data in a way that they can see what the problem is. And we're great at that. We just need to apply that skill in a different way. And that's, to me, all it takes to
right.
be an advisor. Just think about, what does the client need and how can I make it understandable for them? And that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do. And that's why technology is so important, because it
right.
gives a different way to break data down so that it's useful.
It's the power of data.
Yeah, and the other thing about technology, Denise, which is why I'm so happy to be here with Botkeeper, is the biggest challenge to advisory is capacity.
Yes.
I'm so busy doing the crap that I hate, which is what we talked about yesterday, that I can't bring this in. I hear this every day from people, and I go, well, stop doing some of the stuff you hate.
Yeah,
Use automation to get the numbers right, because we need the numbers right so we can build on that to offer the insights that our clients want. And so
that's right.
Botkeeper provides a perfect opportunity for that. Move the crappy stuff and the stuff that has to happen. So it's
Yeah,
important, but
right.
you don't use up all your brain cells on, bank recs and things like that. We need it right, and then we can leverage it into more fun. For
Right.
me, that's the big thing. I want people that are in this profession to get the value they're worth and to enjoy life more. That's all
Yeah,
we're looking for, and a bunch of us are like that. And you're in that same mission, and you were trying
yeah.
to drive multiple places, and it's frustrating to see people still struggling.
And you were saying, like, they're unhappy. The people at
Yeah,
firms are unhappy. People are leaving practices. People are quitting their practice. They go into practice, I believe, because they do care about the customer and they do want to help the business owner, but they end up doing all this work that they're so unhappy. Tax season, they're so unhappy. They're not spending time with
well,
their
I mean,
families. They're working crazy hours. And so
yeah.
then the clients aren't happy. And so you have some thinking around this. So share with me kind of how you're seeing that shift happen from, we have all these clients, we're doing the wrong work, that
Yeah.
for clients. Yeah. How can they
Well,
start shifting?
here's the challenge, right? I have all this revenue coming in,
Right.
and I'm in a firm, so I'm 2 days a week in a firm, but all I do is advisory. And I've been doing this for 15 years, again, in an industry, wine in Napa Valley, which I came in with no knowledge of. But we have the same challenge there. I've got all this tax work piled up. I've got all this low value stuff that I've set the expectation with the client that this is what I do. How do I then stop the revenue stream and shift? Well, what you do is start outsourcing the work to Botkeeper. You get the base transactional stuff handled. You make
Right.
sure the insights are there, and then you apply the insight on top of that work and you shift it. But it starts, the easiest place to start is with the new clients that you bring in.
Yeah.
Every prospecting call we have in our firm, we start by asking them a series of questions that go from financial perspectives to customer operations people, and then their end in mind. We have this broader view that we set at that initial conversation. We ask them what works across those areas, what's broken, and what their ideal outcome is. When we start a conversation that way with a client, we have already taken ourselves out of the let me just get your taxes filed box. And they go, wait, at the end of that conversation, are you an accountant? Are you guys accountants? Yeah, yeah. We think we need to understand all of your business in order to help you achieve the goal you're trying to get to. And that's all advisory is. Finding out what a client wants and helping them get there. And to
Well, and
me,
what
it's
I think is, like, who else do business owners have to talk to about their business?
who
Who
else
else do they go to give them
trust?
advice? Yeah, and they want help. And I
Trust.
think, like, they're calling firms saying, "Can you help me with my business? I don't really want you just to close my books. I want somebody who I can talk about my business and help me with my business." And firms are like, "We don't do that." And I'm like, "Why not?" Right?
We don't do that, but your bank statements are reconciled.
Yeah,
Pay my bill now. And they're like, I don't care about that.
I
And here's
know.
your financial statement, which I also don't care about.
I don't
And
care
here's
about
your
it.
tax return, which I don't care about. I have to get it done. And you're going to raise my fees. Why?
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier too, Deneen, that the whole COVID thing gave us
Yeah.
the opportunity opportunity to prove that we can move quickly and provide relevant advice to clients, even if we didn't have, first of all, any reference tools to support us, really any idea of what was going to happen, or clarity around what some of these weirdo rules meant. I mean, we had stuff coming out. I had a blog post on our website for the firm, and I had to actually go to like time stamping the stuff that came out because we were getting so many revisions, and we had to decide what to tell our clients about staffing and what they could do and if they could survive with no real knowledge.
No, we did.
Really interesting time.
Yeah, no, I saw with the PPP, right? You guys moved into this place without really, it was all just coming at you really quickly, and you were quick learners, right? And you were just absorbing this information, reading this information, and moved right into helping, advising, and teaching and helping your clients at a time when you weren't really trained to do it, but somebody had to do it, and firms did it. You moved into this space and you did it. So to me, like, it taught you, it showed you the value that you bring to your clients. And so why stop there? Now, right, are you seeing firms?
Yeah, it was the first time we had to be comfortable with not being perfect in what we answered, right? We didn't have full knowledge. We couldn't. We could wait for the rulings to come out and our clients would go out of business, or we could say, we're going to just make a decision and do the best we can and tell you what we think. And we realized that that was okay for the first time, I think. And that's not to say that we can lower our standards on traditional services. We still need that, but we shouldn't stop there. We should leverage those trust relationships we formed and turn that information into wisdom for those clients. And again, it's by asking them stuff. It's not by flying in and going, here's what you need to do to marketing. You need to be going on Facebook and buy a bunch of ads. Well, I'm not telling my clients how to do it, but I'm giving them the data to say this thing and this thing is where the problem is. And now get your teams involved and let's figure out what we can change easily to improve that particular thing that will then drive revenues up. That's what we, and that's what I'm showing people how to do, which I had no idea how to do as a partner in a firm. I didn't have a clue how to fix cash flow. I could tell you it's bad, and I could come back next year and say it's better or better, but I couldn't tell you what to do between meetings, and I hated that.
Okay.
I've seen that in the profession, and that's why getting the books right is valuable. Offloading some of that stuff so we're not wasting all of our brain cells on the detail stuff, and we have mental capacity, not just hours capacity, mental capacity to step back, look at what's in those financial statements and go, wow, this doesn't look right, or here's a problem. Create dashboards, overlay it in dashboards tools of your choice, and then show that client, here's where we need to focus, and then let's now help you figure out what to do to improve these results. And that is so different. I mean, again, 15 years, all I do is advisory. You work with clients like that. You walk in there and they're not going, oh no, it's time for the
Exactly. Yeah.
nerdy accountants to do weird thing.
Firms visit with their client and they are like, this is what you owe in taxes, and this is kind of where you're at, and then they walk out, right? And the client's left to be like, well, that's I have all these questions, I have all these other, like, but that's all they've come to expect from their accountant. And I feel like if they, especially right now, tax season right now, I say is selling season to your current clients. And I agree with you, Gene. Most firms start with new clients in this way because they're not comfortable going to their current clients and having a different conversation, right?
Well, think about it, Deneen. I've worked with a client, let's say I've worked with a client for 10 years, and all I've done is give them a tax return. And now I'm going to step and say, tell me about your business and how's your family doing? And they're going, what?
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you improve your business results because I've told them that this is who I am as their accountant provider. So to re-educate them takes time, but it's not that difficult. Again, you take this, we have this grid we use as part of the level 5 training that I use, which is created by Mentor Plus, and I have the rights to this online training material. And it's just it's 100 tools. It's videos.
Robust.
You can take it on your own and do it, but you can also do this supported thing. But you download these tools, and there's a whole section of them called discovery tools, and they're just questions to ask and to document for the client so that they see what they're thinking about, what works. One of the biggest benefits you can do for a client is remind them of the good stuff they did in the last year, right? Sit down with your client today and say, what's happening in the finances, which we probably know. What's happening on the customer side of your business? Have you added them? Have you subtracted customers? Who are you focused on? What's happening operational? Did your software support you during COVID? How's it going with remote work? How's your AP process? All that stuff. And then the people, what's happening there? Are you supporting them? Are they connected to your financial goals? Those are the kind of questions that
Love it.
open all sorts of dialogue. And even if there's not a service opportunity, you're helping them, which is why
Right.
we're in this profession. It's why I named my company Impactful Advisor when I
I love
launched
it.
it in COVID, because I was working with a marketing person. She kept saying, what is it? Who are we? And like every sentence that I had there, I want people to make an impact. I want to help more people impact businesses because I care about the people doing the work, but also those clients that need us.
Yep.
Lost right now. They're still struggling. I meet with clients. I was at a conference and I sat down next to somebody at a bar and I found out he was a business owner. And he said something about, what are you doing? I said, I'm an accountant. He said, I hate my accountant. I'm getting ready to fire them. And I was like, what? And I was getting ready to go do a presentation about why we need to be advisors. So it was a perfect lead in for that. But I said, what's going on? He said, accountants see in red and black. Meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out how to pay my client, pay my employees, how to get more sales, how to manage all these things. And they're telling me that here's what you got. And that's all they're telling me. They're not telling me what to do about it and how to run my business better. And that's
Yep.
what our clients are searching for. They
And they'll
always,
pay. That's the other thing is they'll pay. They'll pay for that. They'll want to see you. They'll want to talk to you, and they'll be very happy to pay because you're helping them build their business. I have a girlfriend who owns her own business in DC, and she called me because she knows that I work with firms, and she's like, I know my books are a mess and I know everybody wants to clean up my books, but I want help. I want somebody to help me with my business. Do you know an accountant that will help me understand and run my business? And I was like, well, it's expensive. She's like, I don't care. I don't want to pay somebody $500 a month just to clean up my book, my mess. I know it's a mess, right? I want somebody who's going to help me drive my business, and is willing to pay. And so you and I agree. I mean, clients are not happy they want more. I love the word impact. I think it's a power word for sure. And there's other the trusted advisor, which yes, firms are
yeah,
trusted. They trust you, but the impactful
only
advisor
so far.
is a power word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are trusted, but I don't think we can own the trusted advisor title unless we're asking those clients
Yeah.
deeper questions than, what's your financial, why is your net income off? We need to ask them what's going on with the business. What are they trying to achieve? Asking a client, where do you go to find out if your business is on track, is one of the best questions you can ask them. We never ask them that because we think it's the financial statements because it's in the language that we like, right? They're
Right.
going to their operational application. My clients are going to point of sale, which is where the sales transactions are being recorded. They're watching that every day, not QuickBooks
Right.
or Fact or NetSuite or whatever they're using to run their business. They're going into these operational tools and they're struggling with that. Meanwhile, we're blind to those things. If it's not in the GL, it's not real, right? So we need to help them get the stuff over better, but also get the insights out timely and in a way that resonates for them so they can make better decisions. And that's what
Yeah.
all this is about. Whatever you call advisory, to
Right.
me, the key definition is helping the client move forward in the direction of their dreams. That's why I'm doing this, and that's what I'm trying to teach other people to do. You can call it whatever you want, and you can do it however you want with whatever methodology, but you need to do it for them.
Right.
And you need to do it for yourself because we're burning ourselves out in large numbers. I've never seen so many people talk about how unhappy they are. And we had another deadline yesterday, and I've got
Yeah.
friends that used to, that I worked with, they're doing taxes still, and I overcommitted, I'm burned out, I'm trying to get
Yep.
through this deadline again. And every year they go, we got to change something.
Every
And
year.
every year,
I talked to a friend of mine this morning. I was like, "Are you okay?" She sounded just exhausted,
they
exhausted.
are. They're
And
just killing themselves.
did, and she didn't meet the deadline, and her firm is forcing her to fire clients because she's
Oh,
not meeting the deadlines, and she knows she has to do it, and she actually has somebody, Joe Manzelli actually, who she's going to give some of her tax clients to, right? Because he's off on his own now, and so
wow.
her firm is forcing her to look at her client base and really stop the minutia, like stop the madness, right? Stop the madness.
It's
It's
just so hard. It's just hard for us because, first of all, we do care about those clients that we're just doing the
right,
tax work, right? I mean, we formed a relationship. We care about those people. So,
right,
first of all, I'm not billing them enough because I want to help them, right? I have a
right.
low billing rate.
That's
Those tend to be the hardest clients because they don't get to their stuff. They've got messy, but right. So we're underbilling, overworking on those clients. We have an emotional connection. And you're telling me to stop doing that and do stuff where I can make more money? Why would I want to do that, Denise? Yeah. but it's really hard. I mean, I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still working with clients, and I still have this desire to help, even if they can't afford me, which is, I think, a shared belief sometimes.
Right.
But who's more important, you or them? We're
Right.
killing ourselves. Um, and it's time to really think. And if you're happy, and there are people who love doing tax, who
Right.
are doing things that is satisfying and making an impact, and we're making an impact with the tax. I'm not saying that. I don't want to undervalue it, but I think we can leverage it to do even more and serve
Right.
fewer clients more deeply,
That's
and then
right.
not kill ourselves and not underserve the clients that we have. If
That's
you want
right.
to really help them, then weed out some of the other work so you can provide more value for those people and more, again, more insights that they can use to make better decisions.
And I think I'm seeing firms do this. Like there's a strategy
But
right now going into tax season where they're sending letters to their clients saying, we want to do more with you, right? We want to do more with you. We know for the last 15 years we've just done your taxes, but guess what? We have this whole new division that can help your business and we want to do more for you. So when we come in and see you, we are going to talk to you about all this new stuff that we're starting to do. And it's not necessarily new stuff, but
and
yeah,
yeah, it's a bit of a challenge because we stick that advisory thing over in its own little bucket because the people who do the traditional services either aren't trained in it or don't or aren't comfortable. And then we've got to form a new relationship with that advisor.
okay.
So it's harder to make the shift. We want everybody talking about it in a firm and not make it a separate thing that Joe and Sally do over here, because then they might as well go to another firm. If I've got to meet a new relationship, right? We want people to be aware enough that I'm doing a tax return again. I did it 15 painful years before I escaped. When I'm in a tax return mode and doing details, I'm not looking at what it means. I'm focused on getting this in the right box and complying with this requirement and asking a question about where's your 1099 or whatever it is, and getting all the stuff in the right things and reconciling M1 if I'm doing a corporate return, which my fellow nerds will know what that is. I loved M1, by the way, because you could tie out stuff, and if it didn't reconcile between the two things, you knew you had a mistake, which I had almost every time. So I'm not doing that anymore. But if I'm in that detail mode, which is again one of the benefits of Botkeeper, you can get me out of the weeds.
That's right.
So I'm not doing all the transactional stuff, so I can look at it and go, why the heck is that there and that there? If I'm
That's right.
doing detail stuff, I don't see that. I'm very focused on that microscopic perspective. So when I can free myself from that, I have a much different ability to see what's really going on and why it matters to the client or what the impact might be. And that's why some of these dashboard tools, if you can bring
Yeah.
those in, will give you the insights to look at what's happening instead of just saying, okay, this is all reconciled now, here you go. But I can
Right.
see data in there. There's all this data that's going into that tax return. And if I went, this guy's getting a W-2 from a company and he's paid commission based on what he sells, I wonder if he's trained in understanding how he can make better decisions to drive revenues up. And then I can reach out to that client and go, have you ever had any financial training? And he'll go, no. And I go, what's your role in the company? I'm the VP. You're a VP and you've never had financial training. Do you get financial statements? Yeah, but I don't know how to read them. Okay, let me come in and teach you how to understand financial concepts.
Wow.
That's how you do advisory. You
It's
look at the
powerful.
data from the eyes. We call it a keen eye. It's a Kaizen principle. Look at stuff with a keen eye, with an eye for why are we doing that? Or what else could I find around this transaction that might add value to a client? So it's
Yeah.
not that hard. It's not that big a shift. We're doing it already. We just don't appreciate our own abilities. We don't have confidence. To me,
Yeah.
that's the challenge.
That's the biggest challenge. I think there's fear. There's fear in asking questions and then not knowing the answer. And some of the firms that I'm working with are like, we want you to spark the interest. We want you to ask questions and we want you not to know the answers. It's not about knowing the answers because you can bring it back and use the tools that you have or the talent at the firm has, right? To then
Yeah.
come back and say, all right, we've got the A team here now to dig in to figure this out with you together because we know it's going to have an impact on your business and that's where your pain is.
We know if I go into a winery, do you think I'm an expert in the wine business?
Right.
No. Somebody introduced me that way and I went, no, I know how to count wine. I don't know what to pair with it. So I'm not a wine expert. But if I go into that business, those people, that business owner knows the business. I know
Yeah.
numbers. My
Right.
job is to get the numbers out so that he or she has data to support the decisions they have to make. That's all I have to do. So like my person who was on the training who said, I'm not going to go into the marketing stuff because I don't know what to tell them to do about it. And I said, remember, we're training you to ask different questions. We are not training you to be the expert.
Right.
So what we do is present the data in a way that they can see what the
Right.
issues are. And then we ask them, what ideas do you have now that I've broken it down to? The reason your sales aren't working is because you're not capturing enough emails on the front end. Because I'm going to look at the process and document it. It's how many emails I get, what my conversion rate is. Those are things I can do, even if I don't understand how to do the marketing. But I can say, here's where we start. How many emails do you capture a month? Oh, none. Okay, what are your ideas to capture them? And then they come up with the ideas.
That's cool.
But if I just say your revenue's down, increase it $1 million, they're like going, okay, I'm just keep doing what I'm doing and hope. That's my strategy, right? But when I can back it up to you need more emails, or you need to improve the conversion rate on the ones you're sending out, or you need to increase the frequency of what you do, or you need to increase the price per unit of what you're selling when people convert, or you need to retain those clients. And when I give them all those elements, the people who know marketing can say, oh, I can do this for
Right.
email, I can do this to improve conversion, and now I've got something that they can work with. I don't have to know how. My
Right.
job is to ask those questions so that they can find their own answers, basically. And
And deliver the
that's
data,
the mindset.
dig into the data and deliver the data to reflect, okay, here's what you've been doing, and here's some ideas of ways to do it a little bit differently. Dabble with it, and I'll come back in a month and we'll look at it and we'll look at how it's affected the data, right? And
Yeah,
so
but
it's like, yeah, go ahead.
the key shift is to empower the people in the front lines, that front line person who's doing the email campaigns, to see the impact they're having on revenue at the end of the line. What we're doing as accountants is measuring revenue and saying it's bad, right? The
Right.
growth of revenue is not where it needs to be, and then leaving. And
Right.
instead, what we're doing now is training those people to see the inputs that drive that result, and then asking them what to do. That's the big shift. Asking that person who's doing the email campaigns, what can we do to increase the email signups? And then they'll have ideas because that's their expertise.
Yeah.
It's
Then they do. To me, it's like coaching, right?
it,
Coaches don't know the answers. Coaches just ask the questions and let you answer them yourself. And then you have your aha moments, like, oh, but I think it's coaching plus the data, right? It's like pulling the
it's
data to then say, well, this is what your numbers show. Yeah.
it's the analytics, it's the understanding the process that drives the results. It's documenting that stuff. So it's not understanding the process, it's capturing it for them and putting things in writing, which we have those skills as well. um, and that's a big value add as well. Get the stuff documented and then break the components down so that we understand what the drivers are of those particular aspects. But Deneen, to me, this is like therapy.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to a therapist, I have this problem, I'm unhappy in my marriage. The therapist just doesn't go, well, divorce the turkey and find a new partner, right? They say, well, how does that make you feel? And tell me more about that. And all that's what we're doing. And we all know we're therapists. I mean, anybody who's
Right.
dealing with a client and numbers, they're doing therapy all day
For
long.
sure. Right.
But it's that same, we call it the Socratic method. I ask questions to educate people. I don't answer the question for them. I pull it out through the questions that I ask. And that's what all of what we do is about. And so there's no fear if you're just asking people questions.
Right. That there should be no fear. I agree. Okay. I'm watching the time. That was like the
Yeah.
fastest 30 minutes ever. We've got 2 minutes left. The two things that I wanted to say is you and I have a webinar that we are doing on Wednesday, November 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern time on capacity. And you heard Geni talk a lot about, free up your people's mental capacity, not only like their time, but their mental capacity to really talk to the customer. Don't spend your time gathering the data and just preparing a financial statement. It's like freeing up your time mentally to be able to review the data and start having conversations with your clients. And so that's the webinar November 3rd. I think we're going to post in chat how you can register for that. But Geni, I'd love for you to share with folks how they get in touch with you, how they work with you around the Impactful Advisor, how they can take advantage of all these tools. Because when I started talking to you and you showed me the tools that you had, my mind was blown. It is like so much powerful checklists and tools. So can you share that information, please?
So the website for the online training, and again, I have do it yourself where you can just go on and take the training online. Or you can sign up for coached assistance through the materials where I come in and add value to the stuff, hopefully add value. It's theimpactfuladvisor.com. You can find it under geniwhitehouse.com. It'll lead you to all my other sites. You can contact me by email at Geni, Geni, at evenanerd.com. That's my nerdy speaking brand, which includes Basset Hounds. And I'm not in my place with the Basset Hound behind me. It's part of my brand.
Yep.
Reach out, and I have some fixed prices on the website. If those don't work, I don't want anybody to not do this because they can't afford it. If you will reach out to me, I will work something out for you. I
Yeah.
want you to get training if it resonates with you. I would love to help you achieve the life of your dreams. That's what I'm here to do, I believe.
Well, and I mean, again, I started off by saying how authentic you are and how much you care and how, you really care about the firms, you care about the customer. And I think you really want to help the profession in a place they are moving towards, but they're, I think, a little stuck. And I think you have the ability to really unstuck them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deneen. What a pleasure.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.